Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video, and welcome to my NFL 2017 Week 5 recap between the Carolina Panthers and the Detroit Lions. Now, the Carolina Panthers ended up picking up the win 27-24 in a game that got really close near the end. Lions really started to make their run. They got two touchdowns late, but the Carolina Panthers were able to grind out the clock at the end of the game and pretty much kneel the ball for the victory. But I'm going to get into the numbers. Of course, I'm going to talk about how the teams played, and of course, looking ahead. Matthew Stafford, 23 of 35, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 6 times. Most of that came in the third quarter. He even got dinged up around the fourth quarter, but that's when they really started to make the run. So but you knew he was visibly injured. Looked like an ankle injury. But for the most part, outside of really that fourth quarter, he didn't necessarily play that great. His 2 lone touchdowns came in that fourth quarter. But other than that, I think the Panthers defense did a really good job of course, getting to him. And then, there were some miscues. There was some drop passes, some miscommunication issues. But I would say overall, this definitely wasn't a good game for him. He didn't turn the ball. Well, he did have the one turnover, the fumble. But for the most part, he didn't throw any picks or anything like that. Looking at Detroit's rushing, Amir Abdullah, 10 carries, 31 yards. Zach Zenner, 3 carries, 11, and a touchdown. Theo Reddick, 2 carries, 8 yards. Now, because of the score, and because it was point in the game, they were down pretty much 3 scores, so they had to really put the ball in the air. So it kind of eliminated their running game. But they did have some success, but most of it really came that first half. The second half, not so much. Looking at Detroit's receiving, Marvin Jones Jr., 6 receptions, 54. Golden Tate, 5 receptions, 48. Theo Reddick, 4 receptions for 45. He was making guys miss. He made Luke Kuechly miss a couple of times. Jared Abbrederis, 2 receptions, 37. Darren Fells, 2 receptions, 24, and 2 touchdowns. Those were the 2 late touchdowns. Honestly, when they really needed it. TJ Jones, 2 receptions for 12. Eric Ebron, 1 reception for 6. That guy has to play better. Way too much talent to be playing the way he was playing. And Amir Abdullah, 1 reception for 3. So, for the most part, you expect a guy like Golden Tate to play better. Same with Marvin Jones Jr., Eric Ebron. What are you doing out there? Your quarterback. Like I said, the Panthers were able to get some pressure, especially in that third quarter. But there was definitely some miscues. There were some drop passes. There were plays where receivers were slipping down, which you couldn't necessarily blame them. And the Carolina Panthers helped them out a lot. A lot of penalties by the Panthers. From the Detroit's defense, Tavon Wilson, Jared Davis, I thought they played good. Darius Slay, he did give up a touchdown. I thought he was okay, but definitely not as good as I've seen him all season. And they gave up some big plays in this game. 2 really big plays to. They gave up 2 really big plays to Ed Dixon, and it just, I don't know, they didn't look very disciplined. Pass rush was almost non-existent, really, for the Lions. Yeah, they sacked Cam Newton 3 times, but for the most part, he was able to really survey the field. He was able to complete some balls in the middle of the field. There were some busted coverages, and hats off to the Panthers offense with being able to mix it up. It's the most I've seen them mix it up really all season, even more so than the Patriots game. But I felt as though the secondary didn't play as well. They were able to make plays, but for the most part, when the Panthers weren't making mistakes, they were able to really move the ball on them. It was just mainly the Panthers' mistakes. Both, a lot of it came on the defense, but the offense, holding penalties, false starts, and they have delay a game, stuff like that. That's what really, on your offensive pass interference, that's what really slowed them down for the most part in this game. Looking over the Carolina side, Cam Newton, 26 of 33, 355 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. He would play great. When he had time to throw the football, he was accurate. He hit on some big plays, especially to Egg Dixon. And the pass to Kelvin Benjamin was the best pass he's had all season. I mean, the pass was on the money to a place at the back of the end zone where only his receiver could get it. And, despite the tight coverage. So you kind of see Cam's really getting into the game. You see he's getting healthy. He's making the throws down the field. And the offensive line, even despite the injuries to the Khalil brothers, they've played better. Are they great? Are they opening up a bunch of running lanes? No. They have not been really opening up a bunch of running lanes. And that's one thing, if I didn't mention about the Lions, they did a great job against the run. Really kept Cam Newton from really getting out of the pocket. So I can give them credit there. I thought they were great against the run. It was just trying to get pressure on Cam. He had a bunch of time in the pocket, and receivers were beating him down the field. But Cam was great in this game. But looking on the Carolina's rushing, Jonathan Stewart, 18 carries for 21 yards. That was terrible. Christian McCaffrey, 3 carries for 7. So you can see that they're starting to use him. Probably the best play I saw ran in the game was a goal line play. It was pretty much a triple option. Not necessarily, but it can be essentially counted as one. I feel as though, it's a play that I've seen a couple other teams run, and they have the personnel with Cam being a running quarterback for it to be a really good play. When Cam takes the ball, he runs like it's an option. Christian McCaffrey comes right behind the left tackle, and there's only one player to account for both Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey. Now, he probably didn't see Christian McCaffrey. Cam pitches it off. This is counted as a passing touchdown. But those are the type of plays that Christian McCaffrey, mixing it up. Play like that, because the guy can make stuff happen once he gets the ball. Cam Newton, 7 carries, 0 yards. So a total of 28 carries, 28 yards for an average of 1 yard a carry. The running game was bad. It was bad. Mostly the big plays came from the passing game. Looking at Carolina's receiving, Ed Dixon, 5 receptions, 175 yards. He was really good. He ran some nice routes. The play calling was good on the plays that got him open. But he was that first time when he broke, I believe it was a 64-yarder, he was breaking tackles. The other play, I think that was just a good play call. And because of Cam's ability to run, it really caught the defense off guard. But I thought he played really well at Dixon. Kelvin Benjamin, 5 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown. I thought he played well. Devin Funchess, another guy who's been playing well. He played really well against the Patriots. 7 receptions, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 5 receptions, 31 yards, and a touchdown. I mentioned the touchdown that he did get, which I thought was the best play calling that I've seen all season. It was a play that I've never seen him run, even looking at preseason and, of course, looking at the regular season up to this point. But because of a guy like Christian McCaffrey, they're able to mix it up, and these are the type of things they need to run to keep teams off balance. And I apologize, it's my phone. Jonathan Stewart, 3 receptions, 23. Russell Shepard, 2 receptions for 15. So I felt as though Cam was able to really get the ball to multiple people. With the injury to Greg Olsen, Ed Dixon has really stepped up. He played solid against the Patriots and had a really good game against the Lions. So guys need to step up. You don't have a lot of speed out there, so you have to be more creative in terms of what you're running. And I felt as though they really have, especially in these last 2 games. Looking at Carolina's defense, Luke Kuechly, he struggled, man. He made some plays every now and then, but some missed tackles. He One really bad one was in the open field. He normally makes that tackle, but Theoretic makes a really nice move on him, and he's sliding out of bounds, and Theoretic's going up the field. So there were some tackles missed by Luke Kuechly. I don't think it's necessarily injuries or anything like that. He just didn't look good in this game. I feel as though the best thing about the defense in this game was the front four: Julius Peppers, K'Wan Short, Mario Addison. These guys were able to get pressure on the quarterback. K'Wan Short had two sacks. Julius Peppers had 1 sack. Julius Peppers, I believe, he leads the team in sacks. So it's mainly been that front. It was that front four I thought was really good. Now they started to slow down as the end of the game came about. You can see fatigue really settled in. So you can really see that pass rush start to slow down. And once that happened, the Lions were able to really move the ball against them. Secondary, Darryl Worley, he still gives up plays down the field. Who else I was about to say? Jarius Byrd, is the new guy they got in. Of course, he was with the Saints. Back then he was a big thing with the Bills. Hopefully he can pan out because he didn't work well in New Orleans. I don't really have high hopes for because he wasn't that good. Shaq Thompson also gave up a touchdown. Darren Fells, he got beat really bad. I don't know about them using him in coverage because a lot of times I've seen them put him on the slot receiver. He's been getting beat. Put him on the tight end. He's gotten beat. He has the speed. Maybe it's him. He's just getting beat, or I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't know. Maybe you need to calm down a little bit more with putting him a tight end. Okay, he could possibly keep over the tight end, but some of these quicker slot receivers, you got to put a guy like Captain Munderland. You got to put a cornerback on him. So I felt as though front four played good. Linebackers, not so much, And that was a big thing with the team. Thomas Davis, Shaq Thompson, Luke Kuechly, these guys, they were missing tackles. Coverage. And you can say for the most part, Matthew Stafford didn't necessarily play good, but in that fourth quarter, you can really see the Panthers defense start to kind of fall apart when the pass rush slowed down. But I felt as though they played good. It's just like against the Patriots, they're letting these teams back in the games. Teams coming down 2-3 scores and getting back into the game. They have to, they've been closing the games out, but you have to really do what got you in that position, because they get into a moment where they want to be conservative. They're conservative on defense. They're conservative on offense, where they'll allow teams back into games. So they really have to change that philosophy. Do what got you that lead. Stay aggressive. Now, obviously, you're still playing the clock, so you want to do whatever it takes to take down on the clock. But you got to do what was working. So that's the only complaint I really have right now for the team. Looking at time of possession, Panthers 35 minutes 23 seconds. Detroit 24 minutes 37. And most of it really, it was the passing game for, it's a surprise. And also, of course, because the Panthers are really trying to burn the clock later on in the game. But I felt as though the passing game is what really helped them burn the clock, and that's a surprise because it's normally run first. They still ran it 28 times, they only got 28 yards, but the passing game is what really allowed them to have such a high time of possession. Looking at third down efficiency, Carolina 7-16, Detroit Lions 5 of 13. Carolina had won that. Looking at penalties, now this is a big one. Detroit Lions had 1 penalty for 10 yards. Carolina had 11 for 100. This is a big reason why the game was very sloppy for them. A lot of them came, 2 PI penalties in the same drive, which led to the Detroit Lions' first touchdown, which was a rushing touchdown. The Panthers were terrible. They were out of sorts on that one. It really started to calm down because they had like 5 or 6 penalties just in that first drive, and they were one of the least coming into this game. They were one of the least penalized teams in football. So getting 11 penalties is not going to help you out a lot in terms of that. But once they really started cleaning it up, you saw less penalties. That's when they really jumped on the Lions and really got that lead. Turnovers. Detroit had 1. It was on a strip sack fumble of Matthew Stafford. So, but for the most part, in terms of turnovers, wasn't really a lot. Mainly for the thing with the Panthers, it was really penalties. Penalties, missed tackles, especially when the Lions started to come back. You saw a lot of missed tackles by the Panthers, and especially from guys like Luke Kuechly. That's just a guy you don't expect to miss a bunch of tackles, but he was missing tackles. Thomas Davis, these guys were caught out of position, and I just feel as though it just happens, man. Guys have bad games. You can't expect these guys to come week to week have a bad game like that. Looking ahead real quickly, the Lions are heading to New Orleans. They play the Saints. The Saints have won their last 2. They shut out the Dolphins, and they're coming off a bye week. So that could be a tough one in New Orleans. That could be a tough one. The defense has played better. Defense still isn't very good, but they, last couple of games that they have played, they've played well. And the Panthers on Thursday night play the Eagles. Probably, I would say, one of the tougher games of the season. The Eagles have been really good. They've been really good this year. They put a beating on the Arizona Cardinals. But that's all I had to say. I was a bit late with this video, but I wanted to make sure I watched the game again, so I didn't watch it until not too long ago. But of course, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.